Hello my fellow viewers, today we are talking about the new items on TFT PBE patch 9.18. They're bringing us one new item. This means there are already 8 items in the game. There are 8 new components with this item. The item we are talking about is this. So the item component has a 10% dodge chance and a 10% crit chance. This is completely new stats given by items. Before we didn't have any item that could give us crit chance or dodge chance. By itself it sounds somewhat weak in my opinion. It reminds me a bit of basically budget Phantom Dancer or budget Yordle with assassin buff. Okay, the first item you can make out of it is 2 sparring gloves, 2 of these items. And it makes Thieves' Gloves. A champion holding Thieves' Gloves can't hold other items except temporary ones gained by this item. Thieves' Gloves cannot be given to a champion that already holds an item. On round start, gain 2 temporary items. Their quality is based on your player level. You get on round starts, every round, 2 temporary items. This sounds like a pretty overpowered item. I mean, of course you could only get, I don't know, like Glacial buff and Night buff for that round. It's the specialty about this item, why I think it's so overpowered, is because people usually think items are strong if you combine them well in a team. And that's also really important. But any item in this game itself, by itself, is already strong enough. Stronger than any comp or champion would be. So because items are already so overpowered in this game, this item might be really strong. You don't really need necessarily the combination of a bunch of items. Of course in the late game it's important to have a Morelos and not build an Rabadon's early and negate yourself in Morelos later or something like that. But what this does is that you can basically give it to a Nidalee in the early game to mid game, sell her, and then give it to another champion who just fits in your comp and stands by, and you just get 3 items out of it. Well, you get 2. You get the stats of these 2, which like 20% dodge chance and 20% crit chance isn't that bad. And on top of that, you might get a healing item, you might even get 2 healing items, you get tankiness, you can get attack speed, you can get pure damage, you can get mana. So, what I think of this item is that it's going to shift meta into less team comp oriented, item comp oriented builds, like things like Draven and Jinx are not going to be as strong anymore, but things like Assassins, Eve is going to be so strong with this item. On top of that, maybe Akali, other carries that can just work by themselves without having a comp or other items built around them. I think this is a really risky change they did, but it's smart. It's smart because we already have the issue with nobles right now, even in the new patch 7.b, and we have the issue for way too long now, and this item might bring a change to stuff like nobles, to stuff like rangers, and this could actually work really great on Gnar. Gnar is one of those characters and champions that can work with a lot of items. This works actually really well on any shapeshifter. From early to mid game you want to of course switch it up, but this can also work on Swain, but I think the best champion is going to be Gnar with this item. He can benefit from any other item the most. I mean, just imagine you get a random GA and a random Marilla on a Gnar. You usually wouldn't build a Marilla on a Gnar because he can only ult once. But getting that randomly on a round start by just one item, and you will have other items, you will build comps around them. It's gonna make a huge difference, especially on the meta. So I really like this change, because I don't like the component though, not the stats it gives. I think they should change this to 20% dodge chance or 20% crit chance. I don't like this 10-10. It's not consistent enough, if you get what I mean. And then you build 2 of it, you just get 20% dodge chance, 20% crit chance. Instead getting 40 of each, or even 30 of one of them would make a big difference. But this item, I like it. I really do. It's gonna be interesting. Of course, there's going to be people who say again, it's just all about how much luck you have with your items, who are going to complain. But those are probably a bunch of crybabies, and you shouldn't listen to them because they will just annoy you and you will have no fun in your games. So instead, just have fun in your games, play with these risky items, and just... I mean, you will be able to build at least 4 other items if you make it to the further rounds. So I really do. This changes things up and makes TFT a lot more fun. A lot more variety is in there. Okay, next item. Hand of Justice. So the recipe is Sparing Glass and Tear of Goddess. At the beginning of the planning phase, the wearer randomly gains either 40% increased damage or 40 life on hit until end of round. This is... You basically either get somewhat of a budget Gunju's Rage Blade or something assassins would benefit a lot of from, or voids. I don't know. I mean, it's a tier item, you get mana as well, so you get increased damage. Oh, it's a sorcerer item. Maybe this is the new sorcerer item. You also get the dodge chance 10%, even though it doesn't really matter. The crit doesn't matter at all. But this might be the new sorcerer item. Go to sorcerer item. 40 life on hit until the end of the round. Okay, this actually makes it not a sorcerer item. It's either a sorcerer item or somewhat of a ranger, draven, jinx, gunslinger, blade master kind of item. For those who aren't great. So it's just, again, about luck. I think the whole item might be about luck at the moment. So yeah, this is still sounds boring in my opinion. I don't know if I would build this over double tier, over... Like, I would rather save this item for another component, build something else on any other comp. I don't think this item will be that effective or that much used. Especially, like, the only heroes that go well with this might be assassins like Eve or Akali. Yeah, those are the only ones. They benefit from mana. Well, next item. Like, you couldn't build this item on a Gnar, for example. It's just not good enough. That's what I mean by not that consistent as like the first one. You could build on almost any champion. Okay, Infinity Edge. Recipe Sparing Gloves and BF Sword. So they changed it from double BF Sword to Sparing Gloves and BF Sword. Crits deal 200% more damage, and when you want to crit, but like even more so. What? Okay, so crit chance 200% damage, whatever, still BF. It's probably going to be built less because everyone was going to build this item and rather save it. So, next item. Arcane Gauntlet. Recipe is Sparing Gloves and Needlessly Large Rod. Needlessly Large Rod. Okay, so you get the AP component, AP item. Your abilities can critically strike, so basically like Akali's. And when your Ace Soul dreams of being Draven. True. Imagine this item on a card list too. Or on an Ace Soul 3 or 2. Yeah, this is not going to be a lot of fun. Like, if you're going Sorcerer, 6 Sorcerer is back. 6 Sorcerer is back. We got this item on top here, we got this item. 6 Sorcerer is back, I'm already telling you. Yeah, I'm not happy to see this, honestly. But things like Noble are going to be C tier once this item is out. Because, imagine you play Nobles and your enemy just fucking crits you with an AoE ability. Just an Anivia standing there ulting. Or, wait, does crits like count per tick? Because okay, they haven't like said how large the chance of critting is, so depending on that, of course it's going to be as OP or not as OP. But also on the other hand, if you only have like a 10% chance to crit the enemy within level 2 Karthus, you probably want to build this item. You get AP on top anyway, and then you get that 10% crit chance, the dodge chance. The crit doesn't really matter. Interesting item. It really depends on how big the critical strike chance is. Next item. Quicksilver, Recipe Sparing Gloves and Negatron Cloak. So it prevents the next crowd control effect, applies to the wearer, refreshes every 5 seconds, can touch this, Banana. This is completely overpowered. Like, Negatron needed an overpowered item, something you put on your main carry to, and this just completely prevents the enemy Rengar stacked with Rapid Fire Cannon and Bloodthirster to destroy your entire team. The only thing you could do before is just CC him and place your units according to that. This item is just gonna make these single target carries, especially those who can fight in the front line or up close, really strong. Something like a Draven might be not as important to have this item because he's in the back, but if a lot of enemies play AoE CC like Cho'Gath and Sejuani, then this might be the item, must build item every single game. This is even more, as this item is even stronger in my opinion than that, because the chances of getting this is really small, and having a Negatron left over happens very often, unless you're playing something like Draven or Jinx where you just can build that Hurricane item and apply red buff on the enemy team. You instead just would wait for this item and put it on your carry, put it on your fucking Sejuani or whatever. I mean, this could be the GA replacement even. I would go as far and say this is the GA replacement for tanks. Because before that, if a tank got CC'd, like the reason why you build a GA on the tanks with big ults like Cho'Gath and Sejuani is because you want them to ult at least once every fight. And with the GA you basically saved it because they saved their mana before they ult. With this item they don't get CC'd, can probably get that one ult off every single fight. And it refreshes every 5 seconds. More than enough to dodge every AoE CC. You might not be able... I mean, just imagine you are in a fucking fight and dodge your early game, and you just dodge, I don't know, Warwick ultimate, a Leona ultimate. You just dodge those ultimates like an Ash arrow all the way from the back, which can like stun you for, I don't know, 7 seconds or whatever, as well as Leona too. And you just negate that to the enemy. Make their Ash or their Leona complete useless. Really strong, but Glacial counters this. Needs to be said. Why? Because Glacial is always ticks, like if you got 4 Glacials or more, the ticks are going to be really small CCs, and you don't really want to dodge the small CCs, you want to dodge the big ones, and getting a lot of small CCs just prevents you from having a higher chance to dodge the small CCs instead of the big ones, the important ones. Like instead of dodging the Ash arrow, you just dodge the Ash auto attack for, I don't know, is it the 2-second Glacial stun 1.5, I don't know. And then the Ash arrow still hits you within those 5 seconds, and you are still stunned for 7 seconds. So there are weaknesses to this item. Maybe it's gonna make Glacial strong again. I hope so, would be amazing. And you probably, the only comp you don't want to run this in is Demon, I guess. Because demons prevent the enemy from ulting anyway. Yeah, next item. So we got Iceborn Gauntlet, one of my favorite items in League of Legends. The recipe is Baron Glass and Chain Vest. So, on dodge, create an expandable 30% attack speed slow zone. It's basically like Shen only for the enemies to slow their attack speed. How expendable? No one knows. Wait, is it a random factor on how big it is gonna be? That's interesting. Okay, on dodge, create an expandable 30% attack speed slow zone. Interesting. It might be strong against rangers. It hard counters rangers, to be honest. Maybe really good against assassins to play defensive. If you have one hyper carry like a Draven or a Jinx, this might go onto your Guardian next to them. Anything else, not that useful. Next item. Backhand. Recipe: Sparring Gloves and Giant's Belt. The wearer starts combat with a spell shield. Stun the enemy that breaks the shield for a long time. Okay, they don't give us any numbers because they're probably hotfixing stuff and testing out stuff on PBE. An eye for an eye, an item form. Okay, I think, you know, it sounds really strong to have an item like this. If it's a duration of 10 seconds or longer, I'd say it's an okay item. If it's shorter than that, it's probably garbage. Complete garbage, because it needs you to exactly have that one hyper carry of the enemy or that one strength character of the enemy break that shield. And how big are the chances it's going to be? You can put it on the front line, because in that case, if you put it on the front line, who breaks the shield, it could be anyone of the enemy team. It could be the fucking 2-cost Garen against a level 9 opponent. It could also be a Sejuani, which would be okay, or it could be their hyper carry who breaks the shield, where the chances are probably a bit higher, but in my opinion this item is going to be really weak unless they completely overpower that stun duration. In that case, if you have like a 50% chance, because the enemy hyper carry deals the most damage, he's most likely to break the shield. And we don't know how big the shield is. If it's like, I don't know, a 300 HP shield, it's probably really weak, but if it's like 500 plus HP, it might be a really good item to put. It's good for dueling. It's not good for preventing the enemy in that case. It's more good for putting it maybe on your carry, but in that case this item would be much stronger, the Quicksilver one. So yeah. Next item. Repeating Crossbow. Recipe is Sparring Gloves and Recurve Bow. When the wearer dies, Repeating Crossbow passes to a new ally and they gain an additional 20% crit chance on 20% attack speed. This stacks with each pass of the item. Wait, is this like a Ginju's Rage Blade? When the wearer dies, Repeating Crossbow passes to the new ally. So you probably want to start off putting this on a squishy frontliner. What you could do is probably put this on Blade Masters. This item is really strong, because you can just put it on your frontline Aatrox, then it just passes to the next Blade Master. You can go 6 Blade Masters and stack this item on one hero you put all the way in the front, who is always going to die first. And then it just passes on and gives more crit chance and more attack speed. And the crit chance is like, imagine having 6 Blade Masters and then all of a sudden your Yasuo has 60% crit chance and 60% increased attack speed. He's just going to destroy your enemy team. Strong item for good occasions, but on something like Rangers or Gunslingers, I don't know if it's like going to be good. Maybe on Imperials. Having this to your Draven like once your Katarina but that's again not very likely. Like Blade Masters, 6 Blade Masters with this item might be back. Stacking this item a bunch of times. That's what I would say. Yep. Next item. Mittens. So the recipe is Sparring Gloves and Golden Spatula. Oh, this is interesting. Extra 10% crit chance and 10% dodge chance. Vera is also a Yordle. Cool. So they made a Yordle buff to bring Yordles back basically. So still the issue with Yordles is if they dodge an auto attack, the enemy still generates mana, and they can just get destroyed by sorcerers and any ability in the game basically. So, well, at least it tastes purple. Still useless until they fix Yodels, make Yodels strong. Okay, so what we got here, double BF sword item, they changed it. It's not Infinity Edge anymore, it's Lord's Edge. A champion holding Lord's Edge can't hold other items except temporary ones gained by this item. So it's basically like that other double gauntlet item. So Lord's Edge cannot give to a champion that already holds an item. On takedown gain a BF sword for that remainder of the round. For the remainder of the round. Okay, my English isn't good enough. Probably for the rest of the round, it's what it means, I guess. I don't know if I like this. Double BF sword, you just gain a BF sword for the remainder of the round. Like, if you kept that BF sword, this might be somewhat of an investing thing, where you just get 3 of these items. On takedown. So you gain the BF sword to the champion you give this item to, or do you like get it in your item pocket on the left side and you can just randomly toss it onto your heroes and then it's just gonna disappear at the end of the round? Alright, it's again not enough information. Like, if you get for each kill a bunch of BFs, I don't know. I really don't like this item. It's too weak. Only getting damage. No one really benefits from that. You don't get any more mana of it. You don't get... The only thing you get is attack damage. So you could put this on a Draven, but then you couldn't put any other items on him. That's issue number 1. Issue number 2 is... Yeah, you can't put it on any carry, because your carries need a bunch of items in combination. So you will have to put this on something like a leftover hero where you don't want to put any other items on. So he's not going to have a strong ultimate. Probably something like a Nidalee 3 you got in mid game and you don't want to sell because it's too strong. So if you put this on your Nidalee 3, she gets a bunch of BF swords. Maybe you have 4 wilds. I don't know. Is it strong though? I think you can do a lot more with 2 BFs. My opinion. This item's not gonna make it. Think they will have to change a few things before they bring this to life. So, and the other item, Last Whisper, for God's sake, they changed the fucking BF Sword recurve bow item because no one played it. What was it, 7% chance or 10%? No, 7% chance, even though after they buffed it. Like, what a useless item to get crit. So you got a 7% chance to basically get full countered by Phantom Dancer. You're welcome. Here you have 2 really good items combined into nothing, into something that damages you more than it helps. So we got Last Whisper. So good to the decision to take that item out of TFT. No one liked it. Okay, attacks can't miss. Removed from RC, by the way, and deal true damage equal to 5% of the target's maximum health. Do I like this? It's made out of recurve bow and BF swords, the probably 2 strongest items at the moment. Attacks can't miss. So basically, it's... Oh, now I get it. RC does not anymore give you the ability to not miss any attacks. So this basically just gives you a 5% chance of the target's maximum health, and yeah, it's an assassin item. It's just something you build if your enemies build a bunch of Phantom Dancers and you have a high crit chance. It's an item you only build on assassins and nothing else. End of story. Instead of going RC on your Rengar, you just go this item from now on. Yeah, it's a good change. It's like, it was really stupid to have double attack speed on an assassin and increased range just so he doesn't miss. any attacks if the enemy goes Phantom Dancer. This is also, like, again, a YOLO counter, hard counter to YOLOs. No one's ever gonna play them. Not in the next patch. Not this patch. It's kind of sad. Well, this was it. All the changes, the item changes. Please, I always forget to say this in every of my videos. Don't forget to subscribe, because I am doing a lot of TFT content. I might bring here and there a few gameplays, but which is more important, I need more subscribers so I can do more videos like this where I talk about meta, where I keep you guys up to date. You can just lean back, subscribe, and I will give the information to you whenever something changes, whenever something is up, whenever the meta shifts. I thank each and every one of you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, because as I said, I hope you subscribed. So if you want to help out my channel as well, just leave a like, it really helps a lot. I'm trying to grow it, and I'm gonna bring videos more consistent from now on. So bye!